Good morning and a warm welcome from my side to the 11th edition of Vision Summit, the India Electronics and Semiconductor Association's flagship event of the year. The $400 billion electronics opportunity in India, as well as the Make in India national agenda, has been given enough promotion and continues to be given enough promotion in the international circuit, which is a very good start. And the recent announcement, I don't know how many of you have managed to have a look at it, which is called the Startup India Action Plan, will have a significant influence. I'm very confident in building a strong ecosystem to nurture innovation and startups in this country. Areas that are specifically interesting to me as I read through the action plan are the simplification procedures and the hand-holding of startups, especially related to the incorporation, to winding down, and the variety of compliances that are required for conventional companies to undergo as they invest and grow as a company has been or is proposed to be simplified for startups, thereby letting the entrepreneur focus on growing the business and focusing on innovation rather than on compliance aspect, which is, I think, very significant and has been a much needed requirement of the startup community. The second one, funding support and incentives. Many of you know what started off as an electronic development fund and is now called the India Aspiration Fund of 10,000 crores, which will leverage itself 4 times to become 50,000 crores as a fund of funds to be made available to the startup community in this country through various funding agencies, and a couple of them have already been identified. I think SIDBI and CanBank Ventures have been identified, and more are coming in to fund startups in India. Also for individuals who like to invest in startups and make capital gains through startups or have made capital gains in other sectors like real estate or any other form of capital gain can further invest in startups and benefit from the investment in startups. So that has been simplified. There are also tax incentive, as I understand, for people who pay a premium on the stock prices, which is very natural in startup. You pay much higher valuation than what is called as a fair market value of the startup. So there are various tax incentives provided to both individuals as well as institutions. Finally, what's of most interest for me is the sustainability of this entire system. The industry-academic collaboration to nurture startups will get a big boost. As I understand, entrepreneurship and the course on entrepreneurship will be included as a part of the engineering curriculum. Incubation centers within universities are likely to be established. Research centers primarily focusing on innovation will be modeled after some of the successful implementations at the IITs and will be scaled up. So together, a comprehensive startup action plan has been announced by the Prime Minister on Jan 16 this year. And I'm confident with these incentives, the startup community in this country, which has hitherto been inhibited, at least as a perception, will gain further momentum. IESA has been the premier association representing the interests of electronics and semiconductor industry in this country. And of course, the other role for the association has been to roll out and implement the national agenda for Make in India, Startup India, Skill India. IESA over the last 1 year, as an update for most of you, has focused on Internet of Things as a segment. And Internet of Things primarily focusing on startups. We have, over the course of the year, provided a platform for startups in IoT, almost 70, 80 of them, to be discovered. And we have promoted some of the selected startups and also helped them in securing funding. And I think that has been a very well appreciated move by the startup community, especially focusing on IoT. Within aerospace and defense, again, is a major opportunity by the government. The participation of Indian companies in defense sector has been minimalistic, and of course, various reasons have been quoted. And we have organized last year Deftronics, the 2nd edition, to bring about a platform to get together the industry and the government stakeholders to figure out how to involve the Indian industries in the defense sector. We are also co-authoring the draft policy on defense electronics, which will come out soon. In addition, of course, like I said, nurturing startups, and in particular, establishing an incubation center, which we call as the Electropreneur Park, Sponsored by DATI and STPI, we are the implementation agency, and the first Electropreneur Park is being established even as we speak. It is in the Delhi University South Campus, which will host every year 10 startups over the 5 years, 50 startups, incubate them, primarily help these startups go from concept to a prototype by providing them not just with infrastructure and test and measurement equipment, or even prototyping support, but also provide them with the professional management to nurture, mentors to develop them, as well as bring the venture capital and the investment community so that they can make quick exits out of the Electropreneur Park over a year or 2 years period. So this is a new initiative, very well supported by DATI and funded by DATI and STPI. We also have the other initiative, which is engineering talent development, which is very critical. How to get engineers industry ready. So there is an initiative within the association called the Talent in Focus Group, primarily bringing in the industry involvement in developing engineering students in their third and the final year, and provide them with more industry-oriented projects, teach them more industry-oriented curricula, and as a side effect also, those to support those that are already in the universities and have an entrepreneurial bent of mind, provide them with the incubation facility already in the universities that we work with at this point in time, so that incubation can already begin at the university. So broadly speaking, these have been some of the significant initiatives of the IESA during the last 1 year. I'm confident that this 2-day program, with its insightful keynotes, lively debates in panel discussions, and your own networking that you carry out over the 2 days, will provide you with good insights to realize and make the most out of the Make in India national agenda of the country. I warmly welcome you again to Vision Summit 2016. Thank you very much.